City of LaGrange. We will begin with an invocation to be offered by Reverend Hugo Orpeza of the First Hispanic Church of LaGrange, to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Thank you, Lord, for let us be gathered in your name in this special occasion, in this place. We recognize that we need you in our daily life and in every decisions we make. We ask that you give the wisdom to this honorable group of community leaders to make the right decisions on behalf of our local community, to live peacefully, successfully, according with your will. In the name of Jesus, we asking you that, Lord, and we worship you, we honor you. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council members have all been given a copy of the minutes of our regular council meeting held on October 25th. I would entertain a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. That passes unanimously. Delighted tonight to be able to present a 25-year service award to Jeff Snellgrove with the Telecommunications Department. So, Jeff, if you and your family would like to join me at the podium. Let me tell you a little bit about Jeff. Jeff began his career with the City of LaGrange over 25 years ago, on October 23rd, 1997. After graduating from Troop High School, Jeff worked at Mansour's, Sherwood Packaging, and AT&T as a computer programmer and test engineer. While working, he attended college at Southern Union State, Columbus State, and West Georgia Technical College. He graduated with an associate's degree in business from Southern Union State in 1988 and diplomas in computer programming, electronic technology, and industrial maintenance from West Georgia in 1984, 91, and 95. He obtained his Novell CNA certificate in 1997. That same year, the City of LaGrange received their IXC certificate in March and their CLEC certification in May. And in October, Jeff was hired by Scott Cox as a network technician and began his career at the City of LaGrange, just as we started our telecommunications business. By 2000, the city had received the Intelligent City of the Year award for its initiative to provide all citizens with internet access, and Jeff played an integral part in building the fiber network that we won this award for, which has now grown to serve 1,000 businesses with voice, data, and internet services, and over 350 miles of fiber. He was promoted to Telecom Technician 2 and has been Senior Telecom Technician since 2013. Throughout the years, Jeff has continued his education to stay current with new technologies, so we know they're always changing, taking classes in networking, TerraWave, Lucent, Calyx, Prime Power, Cisco, M4, and Metaswitch. He obtained his CompTIA network certification in 2010. As he progressed through his career, he has taken on additional responsibilities of mentoring and training new employees, and now represents the City of LaGrange Telecom at the Georgia 811 local chapter and manages all utility locates and updates. Jeff has been a devoted and valuable member of the telecom team for 25 years. Will you please join me in thanking Jeff Snellgrove? 25-year pin to present to you. And what I would like to do is, see Alan is already on his feet, so let me ask Alan if anything he would like to add.
So, when I started, Jeff was the only tech. When I used to go out to splicing, getting out of control. Anyway, so Jeff's been an integral part in the success of telecom. 25 years, that's a long time. Anyway, so without him, we would not be as successful as we were. I mean, literally for the first like 4 or 5 years, it was just him and I. And we started growing. Jeff started training on other equipment, Martin, like you said, all the other stuff. And he's been a great tech. He's been promoted up to senior tech. And just congratulations on 25 years.
Thank you.
Jeff, if you would, for the benefit of the council, introduce family and any comments you'd like to make.
I have here with me tonight my wife Jennifer and my daughter Gracie. And I just want to say thank y'all. It's been an honor being part of the city of LaGrange. And I have a wonderful group of people to work with, and I'm proud to be part of that.
Well, we're certainly grateful to you. If I could ask you and your family, and Alan, Michelle, if y'all like to come and join us for a photo with the council. Jeff, you used to be front and center over here.
Okay.
And he's only got 20 years left.
I'll let you go first. We'll let Tommy go first.
Let's look at Tommy first.
You good? Okay.
Thank you.
Tommy sits into the brains now. He's two photographs. Yeah. He used to be one shot, Tommy. He's two.
You're very observant, Councilman Mitchell. All right. Under delegations, we have some members of the LaGrange Youth Council here tonight, and I'm going to turn to Adam to introduce.
Hello, Mayor and Council. Hello. A few weeks ago, we attended a couple different events that we're extremely proud of. One of them being the GMA Youth Symposium in Dublin, Georgia, something that LaGrange hasn't attended since 2018 at Tybee. And then Mike Meredith came and talked to Katie and myself about attending an event that he set up to get some words of wisdom. He really wanted to hear from the voices of the youth of LaGrange, and so he invited our council to tell you more about that. We're going to have Simone Acosta, our vice chair for this year, and then Mackenzie Aldridge and Zakiah Gray will be talking about the Youth Day. So to start things off, Simone Acosta.
Hi, so I'm here to talk to you guys about our experience at the GMA Youth Symposium in Dublin, Georgia. So Jack and I went from October 4th to October 16th, and on the first night there we were able to have an axe throwing contest and meet other members of other youth councils that were there. On that day particularly, we were introduced to the Noonan Youth Council and spent a lot of time with them. On Saturday, that was kind of our big day where we had the majority of our events. So we were able to hear from a multitude of speakers, including the mayor of Savannah. And they talked to us from everything from mindfulness to marketing to leadership. And there we were able to work with other members of different youth councils, for example, Union City and Savannah, and work on not only creating budgets, but also networking and leadership skills. On Sunday, we were able to witness their teen court and how they implement that, and also hear from their one of their ADAs. So the whole experience overall was really beneficial to both Jack and I. The biggest thing that both of us took away from it was not only skills regarding leadership, but also networking. So we were able to meet influential students and leaders in their communities from across the whole state of Georgia. And from this experience, I think both of us really saw the value in branching out and meeting different people. And from that, years on, will have many benefits that will come to us from this experience. So thank you. And now I'm going to let Zakiah and Mackenzie come up here and speak.
On October 16th, me and Zakiah and some other fellow youth members had the privilege to attend the Oliver Green Multi-Purpose Center event called LaGrange Youth Day, and we were able to listen to Dr. Clay Body speak. And one thing that really stood out in his speech was he said, "Turn up on life and everything within it." So he was trying to emphasize us as youth, every part of our aspect between sports, school, academics, anything you do, to try your hardest in everything you do. The purpose of the event was for the youth to express some issues we see locally and globally. So personally, I was able to bring up special education because it's a very big part of my life. My mom and my aunt are both special ed teachers, and I'm big in the circle of friends group we have at the high school. So I was able to talk to them and get involved in some ways that we could do other events in the communities so special education kids have the opportunity to do some things we get to do. Thank you.
I talked about mental health because, like, as a teenager, we face many mental health issues with school and, like, playing sports and many other, like, opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate y'all's continued service on the Youth Council and look forward to many more updates from the Youth Council as the year progresses. Thank y'all for that. We also have Kenneth and Winder Cox to speak to the council.
Thank you, Mayor and City Councilman, for giving us this time. I'm Kenneth. Winder's off getting married, so I have to do this. First of all, I want to congratulate the, is it Jim?
Jeff.
Jeff. Yeah, can't wait to tell Scotty about the fact that you did 25 years here. The reason I'm on is that I'm still getting contacts from District 2 people asking about the park on McGregor, Hamilton Road, and Brown Street. And we did a chronological study of what happened, because back in January of 21, the City Council said that the city manager had located McGregor as the place for the park. We're speaking of Frank Cox Union Street Park, relocating it there. And then I did a chronological follow of it, and everybody was satisfied that that would be a great park to locate for my father. As we went along, this is in January of 21, as we went along, I started getting phone calls from citizens here about we've heard that the park's been moved to Whitesville Street. We've heard that they don't know what they're going to do with the park. Then I think we sent a letter to Representative Evans, and with a strong recommendation that would you name the park after my mother and my father, because they both have roots right there in that spot. And he indicated that he would bring it to the council and discuss it. We were here last meeting, and by this time, there's an article that came out in the LaGrange Daily News that the park had been named Moss Wood Park, and I started getting more phone calls. Why? We didn't vote on it in the 2nd District. I said, well, let me go to the City Council and ask, and that's why I'm here. I don't know whether it's voted on, but the same people that called me started a petition, and there's about 400 names in the 2nd District that signed a petition stating that they would like that park at the corner of Hamilton Road to be named Frank Cox Park. The last time we was here, Councilman Edmondson suggested that the pre-K school or the Head Start school be named after my mother, and which I was more than honored and grateful for. But again, I'd like to know what transpired that changed. Even in one of the mayor's comments, he commented that the Union Street Park was being moved to the corner of Hamilton Road, Brown Street. And then things started changing. I don't have the answers to answer to people that's calling me or putting it on Facebook. There's been a lot of Facebook chatter about it.
So I will give my brief understanding, and then I'll look to the other council members if they want to add to that. So when the Hamilton Road project was originally conceived, it was thought that there would be a remnant of the Union Street Frank Cox Park, and there was even discussion about expanding that park. And there was some property that was going to be adjoining that park that was going to potentially be added to that remnant parcel. That ended up taking on a life of its own because I think the road is going to take more of that park than originally conceptualized, and then there's not going to be much left in the way of park space there. But I think the original thought was that there would be a park there that could still be the Frank Cox Union Street Park in that existing location. Meanwhile, there was going to be the project down on McGregor Street, and so when that was discussed, the name was proposed to honor, there were actually 3 names proposed, Otis Moss, Benjamin Wood, and Horace Ward, who were all, one was a doctor, one was a lawyer, one was a preacher, yeah. And so that became a discussion, and our park designers and so forth liked Moss and Wood because of the nature of the park involving moss, and involving more of a natural feel to the park. So Moss and Wood became the 2 names that were identified and presented as an idea to the city council, so for the city council to consider. Meanwhile, at the same time, it became apparent that there wasn't going to be a remnant for the Frank Cox Union Street Park at that point because of the Hamilton Road. And so that was when the linear park, which we just were calling it the linear park on Whitesville Street, had been developed. And so the idea was suggested to name that park in honor of your father. And then of course the proposal for the school. So it's taken on, I mean, there's been a lot of discussion about this. Typically this discussion occurs at 11 o'clock on the day of council meetings. We don't talk about these things typically in the formal evening meeting. We talk about them in the work session at 11, which is a public meeting. The press is there and we invite people to come and attend. But normally, because we're all sitting around the table, that's where those discussions occur. So there have been a lot of conversation about it. I think everybody wants to honor your father and his memory. I think everyone also wants to to recognize that there are other opportunities for naming since that particular park is no longer in existence. But I'm going to see if anybody wants to add anything to what I've suggested on the chronicle history of that. At this stage, I think the council has directed the staff. The council's directed the staff, and signs have been ordered and all of that for Moss and Wood Park at McGregor and Brown, and for Frank Cox Park on Whitesville, and the discussion was raised about possibly naming the school, but no, I don't think any action's been taken on that or directive. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So that's where it stands in the process.
And I'm Mr. Johnny Come Lately to the party, okay? Because all these park plans were set out a long time ago, as well as the widening of Hamilton Road, and I have to disagree with the mayor about what's going to be left behind the widening of Hamilton Road, because we just don't know. I don't know what the state's going to do. I don't know what they're doing. All I know is they said it costs too much. All I know is I've got a project that has been sitting idle for more than 30 years in my district that has plunged an entire community into poverty because people are divesting in it. And so I got drugs, I got prostitution, I got all kinds of ills and stuff that are going on. I don't know what's going to be left. I don't know where all the names are going to lie when it's all over with, of who's going to get what park where. I do know this. I'm averaging about 1 dead black male a month in my district because the state is shorting us, because they said it costs too much money to do a project that the federal government funded 30 years ago. So when we start talking about whose name goes where, I honor Frank Cox. I knew the man. And we're going to get around to that. But I got a whole bunch of dead folks. I got a whole bunch of poverty. I got a whole bunch of drugs that I got to deal with. Just all I'm asking is for the family, just give us some time to work through it. Because we'll get there. We're going to make this right. And so far as the petition, 400 people that asked questions about that park, we discussed that park openly in council chambers, whether it's in the early meetings or whether it's in the late meeting. We discuss it. I haven't received very many phone calls from anybody about the park, okay? And I've been sitting here for 4 years. I've maybe seen, and I saw the list, the petition list, maybe saw 5 people on that list here at this chamber in those last 4 years, maybe 5 that I can readily identify. Now, I'm not saying that what they're saying isn't important. All I'm saying is your council member that represents this district, we got a whole lot more heavier burdens to lift. We can move the names as we see fit, when we have time. But right now, we got critical issues going on in this community. We'll get to it. All I'm saying is just give us time. We'll straighten it out. Frank Cox will be honored. I promise you that. Just give us time.
I appreciate that. But I must say that 30-year project, he worked hard on, trying to get Hamilton Road cleaned up. And I know you can do chewing gum and walk at the same time. That's when we brought it up. It's being done now.
And there's plenty of more parks that we have to redo. And like I said, of what he said, I understand what the mayor's saying about there's not going to be anything left. I just don't know that. We don't know what's going to be left.
We're making assumptions when we say that.
We're making assumptions.
We're making assumptions when we say that.
So everything is still up in the air. So if well, we want this or we want that. To be honest with you, we don't know what we're going to have to offer when it's all said and done. But we've got the public clamoring right now for that park to be open. I mean, literally, they're having events in the park, and the park is not officially open. It wasn't officially open. It wasn't officially open, right?
It is now.
Okay. But we had events being scheduled in the park, and it wasn't even officially open. People were trying to get in there. We had signs that were going to be made up, landscapers that need to do this and that, with the woods, moss theme and everything. So everything's happening. The dynamic is happening pretty fast here, okay? Meanwhile, we don't know what's going to be left of your father's park to this day.
Like I said, I appreciate that.
So I'm just,
but Christmas
I'm
coming up,
just being
and
open
one
and
thing,
honest with you.
I don't know if you remember the lighting of the tree in the park there. There was a mess by people coming to me and saying, your father did this.
Well, we've been doing that the last couple of years in Calumet. We've had the tree lighting.
And just for the record, on Election Day, I just want to say this to the family. I haven't had one state representative come down here and give us an update on what to the public, on what's happening with the park. I mean, or the widening of Hamilton Road project. The DOT is rarely visible to us. They don't like to make public appearances. And I say that because of this. These people are elected by us. I look like the bad guy because I'm telling the truth about what's going on. Ask some of the other elected officials, the ones that are in the state offices. Ask Carl Von Epps why it took so long to get this project done. He had a liquor store sitting right up there on the road. Ask him why were people dragging their feet? Why is my community suffering needlessly?
I think the takeaway from this is that every one of us on the council wants to honor your father's memory, and we're going to find a way to make that happen. I don't know the specifics of that. It won't be. I mean, I'm not going to be mayor that much longer, so it won't be me necessarily. But I mean, there's going to be a concerted effort to not only honor your father but also your mother, and that's what the council has been working through. So, but we appreciate you bringing the concern to us.
All righty, thank you.
Move on to reports. Do any council members have anything they would like to report tonight?
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to say, on my fourth meeting that I had today, I spoke with Leadership Troop, and it was the most enlightening meeting with West Point, Hogansville, Troop County, and LaGrange. It was a very enlightening meeting, and we have something to look forward to for the graduates for Leadership Troop.
I appreciate you covering that meeting for me in your Mayor Pro Tem capacity. So thank you for being there.
I had a gentleman call me today, and obviously he had came up here to municipal court to pay a fine, and he says they had no signage stating how much each fine is. He said, I don't know if I paid the right amount or not. He said the lady in the back that took my money didn't know if I paid the right amount. He said it's not on the website anywhere. So I just say we need to look into that and
Yes,
make
sir.
sure we got it properly posted
Yes, sir.
where people can see it.
Thank you, sir. Any reports?
Oh, I'm on a roll tonight. So this past weekend we had an event that took place down at the stadium. A lot of people tailgating, a lot of trash left out afterwards. And how that happened, where the trash was left over there the next day, you know, everyone's still pointing fingers this way, that way, not sure. But just so happened that Leave LaGrange Better Than You Found It had a litter pickup campaign that was going on that very morning. So hats off to all the city employees and people who came out to help us pick up trash, because we got that park cleaned up. Well, not parking lot, cleaned up in short order. And thanks to the sanitation department, two guys that, well, it was actually more than two guys, a crew of guys on their off day, got up out the bed, cranked up the truck, and started picking up trash on a Saturday when Georgia and Tennessee were playing, and I know they were getting ready for that game, and they were all set. You know, so really thank you to all of them. But in speeding up this report a little bit more, I have to take issue with responsibility. Who's responsible for it? You know, who are we going to pin the tail on the donkey? Who gets this one? The last meeting that we had, there was an issue about who was responsible for an equipment table that got destroyed. And everybody was quick to pin the tail on the donkey in that case. But a situation where you have over 100 people cleaning up trash, over 200 bags collected, because someone organized an event and didn't make the necessary preparations. Where's the donkey in that case? And I say this in front of everybody because as an elected official, I'm tired of tiptoeing around. It's easy to pin the tail on the donkey when the donkey is a darker shade. And it's very difficult to pin the tail on the donkey when the donkey is a lighter shade. Now you can all use your imagination, but there's a certain level of accountability in this community where people are held at a different standard. And I do not wish for that to take root here in the city. I know it has taken root in other places, but I want us all to look inside of ourselves and make people accountable for what it is that they do and be the best that you can at it. If you made a mistake, raise your hand. I got no problem. I'm a very forgiving man because I make a lot of mistakes myself. So in my report, in conclusion, I just want to say we need to do a better job we as a community need to do a better job of helping one another, strengthening one another, loving one another, and coming to the aid of one another. And I'm so proud of the city for doing just that this past weekend. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Councilman Gaskin. We'll move on to City Manager report. turn to Ms. Kelsey.
Yes, sir. There are a couple tonight. The financial statements for October, as well as the payment of bills over $2,000, are attached to your agenda materials. I don't have any particular comments at this time. Would be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Does anybody have any questions for the city manager about the financials?
Okay, moving
Okay.
forward, the redevelopment agency met this morning. As you know, that is comprised of the Board of Education, Troup County, and the city of LaGrange. Developer brought forth a new redevelopment plan for about 300 acres that lies between the Whitesville and Hamilton corridor just south of I-85. Their plan is to create some warehousing, and they requested for a TAD designation, which would be TAD 6 for us. The redevelopment agency did approve the plan. Our next steps from the city side would be to call for a public hearing on November the 22nd. Following that public hearing, the plan could be adopted at your December 13th meeting. And there will also be intergovernmental agreements between the city, the Board of Education, and Troup County. So staff would recommend that you call for that public hearing.
Call for public hearing.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to call for public hearing on the 22nd on TAD number 6 recommendation. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. That passes unanimously.
And one other item, Mayor, Dash for LaGrange reached out to request that the city abandon an alley that's in the 700 block of Lincoln Street. This is where reconstruction really is going on for commercial development, also new housing that will be behind that. There is a markings of an alleyway on tax maps. You actually don't see it if you go out there. Staff would recommend that you would proceed with abandoning the alley.
Do we need a motion for that?
I do.
A motion to abandon the alley?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to abandon the alley. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. That passes unanimously.
That
Oh,
concludes my reports, Mr. Mayor.
thank you, Ms. Kelsey. Move on to resolutions. I have a resolution authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute sale of excess capacity and sale of excess reserve capacity to the city of Beaufort.
Yes, sir. As we discussed in work session this morning, staff would recommend approval.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. That passes unanimously. Okay, under ordinances, no first readings. We have a second reading of an ordinance removing parking restrictions from the former Center Plaza Drive.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of LaGrange to amend the code of the city, to amend the code so as to remove parking restrictions related to the former Center Plaza Drive, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to fix an effective date, and for other purposes.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. That passes unanimously. Okay, we do need to have a brief executive session to discuss an item of personnel tonight. But before we do so, I will turn to Ms. Van Shore and see if she would like to close us with some closing comments, and then I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Yes, sir. Good news for tonight. We're excited about the opening of Sweetland on Ice, which is Friday, November 18th. We just want to let everybody know Sweetland on Ice is free and open to the public. You just have to pay to skate. And we also wanted to thank everybody about the litter cleanup in and around Bird Weathersby this past Saturday. We have a video we would like to show y'all of the great group that we had.
We are picking up trash to leave LaGrange better than we found it.
Let's leave LaGrange better than we found it.
Leave LaGrange better than we found it.
We started the Leaving LaGrange Better Than We Found It campaign to get out in the community and to pick up trash, to beautify the community, and to set an example for everyone in the community that if we all do a little part, if we all do a little bit of the work, the results will transform LaGrange.
Today we have the Kiwanis Club, also Rotary and Optimist Club, and even some of the students from LaGrange College Circle K and some other service organizations came out with us. And it's just really great to have so many community organizations out here serving the community.
There's no better way to see the community than on foot. There's no better way to serve the community than to serve your fellow man. I mean, it's a rewarding feeling.
Great service. It makes everything a lot nicer. You feel great afterwards. It looks a lot better.
that makes me feel good. You know, this is our community. We live here. Beautiful little city. I guarantee you when we get through, it's going to be better than what it was when we got here.
Man, we're saving the world, one piece of trash at a time. Come join us.
And a special thank you to Zakia and Adam who did that video. They helped us shoot and make that video.
All right.
Great job. Okay, can I get a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel?
Motion go into executive session.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Yeah, give us 2 minutes. Let the family out.
Okay. All right. Well, we will now move into executive session.
2 minutes.